Hello and welcome back to the Can I Get a Refill podcast. We are joined by a little bit of a VIP guest today. We're talking career change and with former journalist turned jewellery business owner Talitha Cummins. Talitha, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Steph. Lovely to be here.
We're having a few technical difficulties and we don't know why because we're both in Sydney, but somehow this is our third attempt. So fingers crossed everything goes well this time. We're just having a little chat off air about how much I love listening to podcasts of women who have a career change and have been in some sort of a corporate role or something that didn't give them a lot of fulfillment and have moved over to something that just really doesn't feel like work because they're getting so much creative fulfillment out of it. And I love that about what you're doing. So I can't wait to hear more about that. So let's just dive into it. I'm going to ask you, had a very successful career in journalism with Channel 7 and Sunrise, which is, I'm sure, a job that so many people dream about. Could you talk us through your experience in that industry and what made you decide to leave to start your business, The Cut Jewellery?
Well, thank you, Steph. It was an amazing career in so many ways. You know, I got to see, I guess, the best and the worst of humanity.
That's the entertainment industry, right?
Oh my gosh. It was, traveling overseas, being the first people to arrive at the scene of whatever had happened. Christchurch, when the earthquake had happened and we were jetted in there and, there were still table settings on the tables. People had scrambled and run during the earthquakes and lots of things that were just really amazing. But it also had its downsides as well.
What are some of those downsides?
Look, I guess it was when I went to have my baby, I was pregnant at the time and said goodbye on air, and anyway, I didn't come back after that. So it was a really difficult time in my life.
Was that your choice to not come back after that?
No, it wasn't. And it was just the timing of it. There's not a whole lot I can say about that.
Sure, I understand.
I've signed particular things.
Of course.
So, it didn't end in the best way, but I like to remember it now. I've kind of left that behind me. I like to remember it in a more positive light and for
I think once you get past the initial hurt and shock of things, you do remember the good things. But in the moment, it's always distressing when things are not within our control, but it's like, I'm not sure how much you're allowed to discuss, but it's just so hard to be a woman. It affects your career. It affects your superannuation. But when a lot of women feel, even with, much less high profile jobs, you can feel like the rug's pulled out from under you. And, the husbands have had a child too, but they carry on with their career. So it's very, a lot of women delay it. I delayed until I was 41. I had my son last year. So it's nerve-wracking for the woman to think that things are going to change, and it shouldn't be that way. And unfortunately, it's not uncommon.
That's right. And I just remember being months into, legal letters back and forth. And when you have a newborn and you're navigating all of those things, it was a really unsettling time. But
it is. I don't know how much you believe in the universe and things happening for a reason, but sometimes things have to shock you that feel shit in the moment that sometimes lead you to what you're meant to do. Do you look back on it now and see a sense of that you're led into what you were really meant to do?
Oh, definitely. And when I finished in my journalism career, I had this really kind of bizarre set of skills. I could speak to camera, I was resourceful, I could research things really well.
Yeah.
And I thought, what am I going to do with this weird set of skills? And it just...
Did you sit and write down, I heard that once in the Mamma Mia podcast, sit down and write a list of your skills and a list of what you want. Actually, it's actually not bad advice to do.
Pretty good advice. I approached it more practically, I think, in terms of, I did a little bit of PR. I went to the Weather Bureau for a day and did some work experience there and lots of different things just to sort of explore whether something would take or something would interest me and spark that interest.
So jewellery, how did you do that?
So I think I was sort of led into jewellery because my uncle's been in the industry for 55 years, I think it is next year.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and I was making some beaded bracelets with my son, and I think we posted them, on Instagram or something, and he saw them, and he said, "Come and make the real bloody thing." And I said, yeah, I just sort of laughed it off. And anyway, he made a number of phone calls to me and said, "I really think you would suit this business." He said, "The bespoke arm of my business is going really well here in Victoria, and I think you'd be really well suited to it. I could mentor you, go back and do a bit of study and just see what you think." And at first I was very closed to it because I thought, well, it's just a completely going from being a journalist and sort of trying to sit on the fence around things, going to a sales role or, something of the like was really, I couldn't quite envisage that. But I thought I'll dedicate some time to doing the study. So I did an online, course with the GIA.
Oh, wow.
And I liked it. It's actually a really interesting area, gemology. And then I committed to going over to London to do a practical diamond grading course. And it was there that I just sort of fell in love with it. And I discovered lab-grown diamonds and I thought they were fabulous and I couldn't understand why they weren't more widespread. Yeah. And so a business was born over there, I think.
Oh, I love that. And what year was that?
That was 23.
Right.
So 22 when I was doing my study.
You built some quite momentum in only a few years. That's amazing. Well, you've had some high-profile personalities wear your pieces on the red carpet. How did that make you feel seeing your creativity on public display? And tell us a bit about where you get your inspiration from in creating your pieces.
So, yes, it's always lovely to see your jewellery on display in public. Some beautiful girls from, Eddie Bartholomew, Sylvia Jeffries have been really kind to wear my pieces. But I also, what I love most is seeing clients getting engaged and the photos of the special moments. Like that's really what I love. And the inspiration, look, to be very honest with you, I make things that I like. And I make things that I would, oh God, is that dull or is that okay?
looks good. I really like what you said there. You make pieces that you like. And I feel like that's the best way to succeed when songwriters create music that they think people... Years ago, I used to be a singer and write my own music. And I remember people saying, "Oh, you got to do a more up-tempo dance song." And I wrote one. Out of the songs I wrote, it's the only song I cannot re-listen to. I hated it. It was not me. It didn't suit my voice. It didn't suit my vibe. And then when I used to write my sort of, stronger female anthems, it felt, and people connected with that more. Because when someone's passionate about something, other people cotton on to their passion for it rather than creating something for what they think others need. Creating something that makes you happy, I just think always succeeds more.
Definitely, and I think that's been like the large part of our success. Everything I do, we've grown through me using my journalistic skills and educating people through social media reels, and it's just me talking, educating, creating pieces that I love, and I think I'm just authentic. If I feel strongly about something, I'll say it. If I don't like these particular stones, I'll say it. It's just...
Well, that comes with age, right? That's something that I'm proud of having now, but didn't always have.
Definitely. Oh, yeah. I'm 45 now and I love being 45. I'm the most comfortable. 40s.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
It's great. I said the other day, I would never want to repeat my youth, but I'm like, I do wish I could have done teens and 20s with this personality and this level of confidence and this level of knowing myself. I just think it would have been so much easier. But hey, it's all part of it.
Wouldn't have done everything that we did.
Exactly. And what I love is how you're using your journalistic skills now to promote your business. So, the most thriving businesses are when you're seeing the face of the company. When people want to hide, people buy a piece of you. Beauty industry, fashion, when the founder is at the forefront, people are buying a piece of them. So it's very important for you to be the focal point. So I think those reels really obviously have boosted your business a lot. So that's great that you were able to use something from a former career. It didn't work out. It's like I was sort of related, but sort of not with ex-boyfriends. I'm like, it's either blessings or lessons. It didn't work out, but I learned some really good lessons from either bad relationships or bad jobs that you can take into the next thing, right?
Absolutely, and that's failure in a nutshell, right?
Yes.
So you need to look for the lesson. What can I learn from this? What's the universe telling me? What is,
Great.
Always.
I have referenced this so many times in my podcast, so people are going to be like, oh, not this story again. Sarah Blakely, who created Spanx, there was this really great Netflix doco with Reese Witherspoon, and they've removed it. And she said, Sarah Blakely, at the dinner table every night through her childhood, her dad would ask the kids, how did you fail today? And I just love that. And she went on to create such a successful business because you don't succeed the first time you do things. You have to try again. So it's lessons learned when you fail at something. So
Definitely.
I think that's really important. Yeah, it's definitely not attempting is a failure. What have been your biggest challenges in starting a business, and how have you dealt with any setbacks or criticism, particularly being a bit of a personality online? I wouldn't mind betting there's a bit of keyboard warriors on there.
Oh, for sure. And when I came out, I don't think I minced my words when I was, talking about diamonds. I entered this industry with fresh eyes. I think even my uncle was sort of surprised, and I was like, well, how are we still saying diamonds are rare? How is that the case when most people in the Western world have one on their finger, or earrings or things like that? So I approached it. Diamonds are not an investment. Diamonds are not rare, and I was very honest. So I expected, backlash from that.
People hate change.
I guess,
like
but I was also
tradition.
shocked because I was just telling the truth. So I was fortunate enough to have been in the TV industry for long enough to have had a lot of feedback and criticism. So I've learnt to deal with that, but sometimes it still stings. Yeah.
How have you learned to deal with that? Do you think over time you've developed thick skin, or have you been able to sort of remove yourself from it a little bit?
I think over time you develop a thicker skin, but every now and then a snarky comment will still sting. Now I just block and delete straight away. If
my God, that's all I ever do.
Negative?
Yeah,
Bye.
same. I don't even engage. Cause I'm like, what's that expression? You can argue with an idiot, but then there'll be two idiots. So I'm just going to not engage, and I just block any time. And I'm all about, the sisterhood and building each other up. And if I don't agree with something, well, I just scroll past. It's not, those people don't need my opinion if I don't like something they've created. So
no, that's it. And I think if these people are going to sit online and make snarky comments and take the time to do that, then they're probably not feeling great within themselves as well. And that's just how I like
100%. They're projecting. They're either bored or they don't like themselves. So sometimes it's a matter of sending them love. Very hard to do, but sometimes you need to do that.
I'm trying to practice that.
Yeah, right. So what have been your biggest challenges in starting a business? Because we've got a lot of not wannabe entrepreneurs, but a lot of people looking to go out on their own, myself included, just started something like that. So what have been the biggest challenges and setbacks you've found?
Unexpected things. So we grew quite quickly because of social media and the reels. And so now 30% of our trade is in the US.
Right.
And which is good and bad because we have newly introduced tariffs. Which, just basically slaps another 10% on the price. And then we have things like dealing with customs in the US, or trying to get parcels into the UK, or we sent something to Estonia or Germany. And it's navigating all of these sorts of things that I just never would have expected would be a problem. So
it's the logistics of stuff like that takes so much time and resources in a business that I don't think people realise. That people sort of picture, fun sitting and designing and selling and cha-ching on Shopify, but it's so much behind the scenes, isn't it?
It's a lot of hard work, and then you might have something that if something breaks, or you quickly have to learn how to deal with customers who are displeased. Because there'll always be those people.
Listen, let me ask you this. I've worked in customer service since 1998, and
wow.
I went on maternity leave last year and came back into like more direct customer service, and I was like, "Oh, what has happened to people?" It is not the customer service I remember. We have people that would be like, an order will be placed online at 4 p.m. The next morning at 11 a.m. Where's my order? Where's my tracking? I was like, people have lost the ability to wait for things.
And I think it is we have created that kind
Yes.
of, and
Amazon. I
has
blame
created
Amazon.
that.
Same day
You get it
delivery.
tomorrow
Yes.
night at 7 p.m. delivered to my door. I
That's
think
it.
it's the
Uber Eats.
immediate
Yeah.
now mentality. Yeah.
Yeah, and we've all gotten so used to that I think it's just expected non-stop. And we'll have people email on a Sunday like, "Why aren't you replying?" Well, because we're with our families. It's business hours, Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. And because of our phones, everything's accessible 24/7. And I think people are under the impression that everyone's there to service their every whim, but it's not always the case. And sometimes there's smaller businesses that don't have staff that can work such hours. So, yeah, it is tough. Like, it's so great to talk to people. I love customer service and I love connecting with people, but there is definitely an element of higher expectations these days, do you find?
Yes, for sure. It's a very different. Doing business now it's a very different time, I think, and I think you have to be on a lot. Yeah. And I worked 7 days for the first, I think, 14 months, and then I just thought, no, I can't do this anymore because I'm literally burning out.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can only do what you can do, really.
Well, while we're on that topic, seeing as this podcast is about filling up your cup, do you find that you've had to put in some boundaries and sort of close work off at that time? Because I do find, like myself and my husband, when it's your own business, you're just on call 24/7, and it is hard to differentiate. And now that we've got a little kid, it's hard to differentiate that family time from work time. And are you finding that you've had to put in some boundaries to take back some you time and carve out some family time?
Yes, I'm trying to do that, and I try to make it so that once I get home at night, I put my phone away for a couple of hours while, we're having dinner with the kids, and then putting the kids to bed.
Bath time, reading,
Not always successful, because if you've got a deal that's going on then and people are emailing you, and we often deal with overseas a lot, so you can be up to midnight or the early hours doing, dealing with that. So, look, I try to be as conscious as I can about it. But not always successful. I try to have Sunday as my day where I spend with the kids.
Yeah, that's great. I know I'm always saying to my husband, our weekends are his childhood, so we really need to work a lot less on the weekends. Who have been your biggest cheerleaders, particularly in your career pivot?
Oh, wow. I've got some amazing cheerleaders around me. I would say my husband has been my biggest cheerleader. Well, one of my biggest cheerleaders. He even sold his business a few weeks ago. He had a big fitness business called Flow Athletic here in Paddington. And he is sort of saying, well, it's your time now, it's your turn to grow, and he's really supportive and encouraging, and next week we've got a team alignment, so our little team is getting together in a boardroom off-site, and we're talking about values and business goals and those sorts of things. So he's been amazing. My mum has been incredible. She for the last 12 months has been sleeping on my son's bunk bed. Aww. Because she came from Queensland I was so busy to help me.
What a godsend.
Bless her.
You need help as a mum to be able to balance the two, yeah.
Definitely. My uncle has been an incredible mentor, and my head jeweller down here in the city, Greg, has been amazing as well, just supportive and wanting to help me grow, and I am surrounded by some really amazing humans.
Have you got a lot of girlfriends who are your big cheerleaders? Like my circle of friends, I'm always messaging, can you go and like my last post because I need more engagement? They're always the first ones to like and comment on anything. Have you got the girlfriends like that?
Girl and boy friends who are just fabulous. And, everyone in my life is really supportive. And you get to that stage in your life where everyone who is there for a really good reason, and it's a really nice time.
We've weeded out the fake friends. I really love what you said there about your husband, how he's taken a step back from his business and he said, it's your time now. And sometimes with these sort of power couples, so to speak, sometimes it is you can't do it all at once, and sometimes it's you're up and I'll take a step back and then, okay, your turn. So it's just so vital for success, because success is not just one aspect, and successful relationships are just such a huge thing as the foundation of successful careers. And when you've got that supportive partner at home who cheers you on or takes over a bit of the parenting load, it's just vital. Do you find that?
Definitely. And I think I love that he's strong enough and secure enough in himself that he is happy to do that as well and acknowledge that. I mean,
more and more there's men like that now. I love that.
Yeah, it's really lovely. And I mean, he's a force to be reckoned with, so I don't think he'll sit too still for too long. But
yeah,
but the
just shift
sentiment
it back
is
up
really
soon,
lovely.
huh? Yeah. Oh, that's so lovely to hear. Well, while we're sort of on the family topic, as a career mum, how have you found the balance between wearing the mum hat and the business owner hat? And how would you like your kids to describe you when you're all grown up? It's one that hits the chest, doesn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's really hard juggling having a business and being a mother. And, you know, Saturday is our biggest client-facing day, and so I'm not with them on Saturdays.
Yeah.
My husband and my mum are. So that's really hard for me, but I'm working towards being more available on those days.
Yeah. May I ask how old your kids are?
So they're 6 and 8. I've got a girl who's 6 and a boy who's 8. Yeah. So they're still relatively young, but I just try to make sure that when I've got time with them, that I'm focused. Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
That I'm focused and, with them and really with them. So that's really important. What would I like them to say about me? Well, Riley wrote me a letter recently and said, "Thank you for being so kind. You are kind because you make my lunch." So it's simple.
Love these.
It's simple.
I love those things they put on Instagram, like all the letters kids write. They're so blunt and they see things in such a different light. It's so pure.
But I love that sentiment because for us here, it's all about kindness, and being... trying to encourage our kids to be kind. I'm less inclined to worry about school grades and which sport they're playing, and more worried about how they're acting in the world as a little human.
Absolutely. And how they view themselves as well. My kid is yet to speak, but I'm already trying to instill, like the relationship you have with yourself is always going to be the most important one. So that sort of self-love and self-respect, because you can't always be there with them when they get into their teens. And we were teenagers. We know what it's like. You want to experiment with things. But I look back and I always say, if I had better self-esteem, I would have made better choices. And I do think that that's something that I'm so conscious of with parenting, to make sure they have good self-esteem. And, so if something happens, I want to ask them, how did that make you feel? And really let them feel heard, so that they're treating themselves and others with kindness and compassion. It is very important, kindness.
Yeah. I think emotional coaching and asking them about, what that means and what that means to them. How did they feel when that happened is really important.
Yeah.
It's something that I learnt from another mum.
Did you? Yeah. And it's that balance is so hard. That what falls on mums, I was just having this discussion with a mum yesterday whose kids are older. She's in her 50s. And I was saying it's such even when the husbands are so hands-on, it's that mental load on the mum of what appointments do I have to book? I wake up at 4:30 to get everything done before my husband and son wake up. And my husband will wake up, go get his muesli, go to the gym. It's like, we're on top of everything and it's exhausting. And I'm going through a little phase where my son, the person I ruined my body for, is going towards his dad over me every single time, and it breaks my heart, and I know why he's doing it, because dad's more fun. And I had a big cry about this yesterday because I recently quit my job. I'm finishing in about 2 weeks, and to do our own businesses, and also because I want to have more time to play with my son. I don't want him to remember me as, the busy mum. I still want to be seen as someone fun. And I can't be fun and sit on the ground and blow bubbles all day. I definitely want to work, and I want him to see me, working towards a career. I think that's important too. But I definitely want to take pockets where I can sit and be present with him, because that would break my heart if he just saw me as the busy person that was trying to, throw him to his toys so I can jump back on my laptop to do a few more emails. So it's So hard for mums, isn't it?
It is, and it's, I think balance being the operative word.
Balance.
Because, juggle being the operative word, because
Yeah.
there's zero balance. It's, your mum of the year one.
Your priority's either on that or it's on that. It can't be on all of them. Balance is
No.
impossible to achieve. Yeah.
No.
So
no.
true.
I think just one week, one week you feel like you're killing it and you're
Yes.
cooking lasagna or something, and then the
Yeah.
next week it's takeaway 3 nights in a row. Like
Yeah.
it's just, it is what it is, and you just got to roll with how it goes.
We've got to roll with it, and we've got to be kinder to ourselves too. I think the only person really judging me is me. When I get the guilt, I'm pretty sure I'm the only one putting the mum guilt on me.
For sure.
Yeah, and definitely carving time out for yourself as well. I recently had a birthday, and it was my first birthday as a mum, and I spent it by myself. I had an infrared sauna and a massage, and took myself to the movies, and I had the greatest day because I felt tapped out. I felt I've been working from home with my son like nearly every day, and I adore him, but it gets to you.
It's
you
exhausting.
need to switch off. It is exhausting.
That's a dream birthday, by the way.
Oh my God, right? I put it online and all my mum friends are like, yes, queen. It's like the best thing you can do for yourself.
I love
was
that.
so refreshed. I felt so happy when I came home. And you're a better mum once you take a little time for yourself. I say this nearly every episode, yeah. I'm going to finish with a question I really like to ask women around our age, and especially when you've gone through, career pivots. If you met your 18-year-old self today, what would you tell her?
Oh, believe in yourself. Love yourself, believe in yourself, back yourself, be kind to yourself. Be your own best friend.
Yes.
Because it took me 40 years, to learn that and to actually feel comfortable in my own skin. And
it is a journey, and I am hearing that so much from women our age. I think it sort of started in your 30s, and by 40s you're like, oh, I get it. Yeah.
Yes.
It's a nice phase of life, and it's I do find that it's our duty to pass that on to younger women, to teach them to really believe in themselves and treat themselves with love, and
definitely. And
be
I
kind
think
and take no shit.
Yeah, yes. And I think also just be mindful of who you surround yourself by. If you're sitting at I always feel anyway, if you're sitting at a table and everyone's talking about other people and what they're doing, and I just think that's not the best way to, best group of people to be around.
Not at all. But you never feel good when you're around those people. And, if they have something to say here and there, that's fine. But when people are constantly, let's talk about others, what is that expression? Like, big minds discuss ideas, small minds discuss people. So and you just don't feel good. You feel drained when you're around those people, and you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So that was definitely a journey for me of looking at, I say this nearly every episode. We had a biohacking episode, and relationships and community is actually a big part of your health, and looking at the people you spend time with can really dictate the path your life takes. So it's very important.
Sure.
Yeah.
So choose those people wisely.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed our chat today, and I'm going to link in the show notes all your links and your socials and your website, and I do urge everyone to go and check out, and I will pop in to try on some pieces of jewellery very soon. But
Amazing.
Yeah, it was really great to hear your journey, and it's super helpful to our audience. So thanks so much for being a part of the show. Really appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Steph. Thanks for having me.